Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Welcome to our deep dive exploring the development of psychology. We'll be focusing on the complex relationship between Sigmund Freud and Carl Gustav Jung,
Their collaboration, their disagreements.
and really their impact on how we understand the mind,
We'll be using a variety of sources
including excerpts from their writings.
and historical accounts of this really fascinating period.
So,
Our journey begins in the early 20th century.
the dawn of modern psychology.
It was a time when psychology was just starting to establish itself.
Right, as a distinct scientific discipline.
Precisely. And it was during this period that Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, introduced his groundbreaking.
And often controversial theories.
Yes, about the unconscious mind.
And its connection to sexual drives.
Now, a young psychiatrist at the time was deeply intrigued by Freud's work. He saw in it a way to understand the deeper workings of the human psyche. Freud had already published some of his most influential works by this point.
Works like The Interpretation of Dreams
Yes.
and 3 essays on the theory of sexuality.
These texts had a profound impact on Jung's early thinking.
And their first meeting in 1907 is said to have lasted an incredible 13 hours.
A marathon conversation. It really highlights their instant intellectual connection and shared passion for this new field.
Jung, who was working at the Burkholzli Clinic in Zurich,
In Switzerland.
saw in Freud's theories a powerful tool for understanding the complex symptoms of his patients.
Particularly those suffering from neuroses and psychoses.
And for Freud, Jung represented a brilliant mind who could help expand the reach of psychoanalysis
Internationally.
and strengthen its standing in the scientific community.
But even in those early collaborations, subtle differences in their viewpoints began to emerge.
While Freud emphasized empirical observation and the role of sexuality,
Jung showed a growing interest in spirituality and mythology.
subjects that Freud viewed with some skepticism.
To really grasp the nuances of these emerging tensions, I think it would be helpful to delve into a dramatic reading of one of their early dialogues.
Drawn from our source material.
I believe you should embody Freud.
And you will take on the role of Jung.
Very well. Let us begin.
Carl, I see in you the future of psychoanalysis. Together we will bring the hidden workings of the mind into the light of scientific understanding.
Sigmund, your insights have revolutionized my understanding of mental illness. Yet I sense there are deeper layers to the human psyche, mythic and symbolic dimensions that shape our collective experience.
We must tread carefully, Carl. Psychoanalysis gains its strength from measurable facts and consistent theories grounded in empirical observation. The realm of mythology, while fascinating, can lead us astray from the scientific path.
But why limit ourselves to the purely personal? These universal symbols, these archetypes, they appear in cultures across the globe. In dreams, in myths, in religious rituals. Doesn't that suggest something profound about the human psyche, something beyond individual experience?
Even in this early exchange, their contrasting approaches are quite evident.
Freud the pragmatist, seeking a solid foundation and observable data and measurable phenomena.
Prioritizing the individual's personal history and the role of sexuality.
In shaping the unconscious. Jung, on the other hand, points to a broader, more symbolic understanding of the psyche
Emphasizing universal patterns.
that transcend individual experience.
And this divergence in their views becomes even more apparent as we delve into their respective concepts of the unconscious.
For Freud, the unconscious was primarily a battleground of repressed impulses.
Stemming from early childhood experiences.
He placed particular emphasis on sexual and aggressive drives and their influence on adult behavior.
His theories of the Oedipus complex
And the concept of libido.
as a driving force in human development are key examples of this,
He further explored these themes in Totem and Taboo.
where he connected these primal drives to the development of civilization itself.
It's also worth noting that Freud consistently advocated for a rigorous empirical approach to psychoanalysis.
Grounded in direct observation and techniques like free association.
He really believed that this scientific methodology was crucial for establishing the legitimacy of the field.
Jung, however, developed a significantly different concept of the unconscious. He proposed the existence of what he called
The collective unconscious.
a realm of shared archetypes,
Universal symbolic patterns.
like the hero, the great mother, and the wise old man.
He believed these archetypes were not merely personal constructs.
but rather universal patterns embedded in the human psyche.
Inherited from our ancestors and shared by all humanity.
He saw evidence of these archetypes in the dreams of his patients
In the myths and religious stories of various cultures,
and in the recurring patterns of human behavior across history
he explored these themes extensively in his works, Symbols of Transformation.
and psychological types.
While Freud saw the unconscious primarily as a repository of repressed desires and potentially disruptive impulses, Jung viewed it as a wellspring of creativity.
Insight and spiritual growth.
He believed that by understanding and integrating these archetypal forces, individuals could achieve a state of wholeness,
And psychological balance.
a concept he referred to as individuation.
Their contrasting views on the unconscious were a major point of divergence, and I think this tension is really palpable in the next dialogue we'll explore.
Shall we continue with the dramatic reading?
Yes, you will take on the role of Freud this time.
Carl, you speak of archetypes and collective patterns, but where is the scientific evidence for these universal images? Such concepts belong to the realm of mythology, not the scientific study of the mind.
But look at the evidence, Sigmund. These archetypes appear in myths and dreams across cultures, in the art and rituals of societies separated by vast distances and historical epochs. Their universality suggests a deeper psychic reality, a shared substrate upon which individual experiences are layered.
Psychoanalysis must be anchored in the individual's personal history, in the specific events and conflicts that shape their unconscious mind. We cannot rely on speculative interpretations of universal myths or symbols. The foundation of our work must be the observable, the measurable, the replicable.
But the human psyche is more than just a collection of personal experiences and repressed desires. It is a stage where universal dramas unfold, where archetypal forces interact and shape our understanding of ourselves and the world. To ignore this dimension is to limit our understanding of the human mind.
This exchange underscores the growing chasm between their perspectives.
Freud, ever the pragmatist, demands scientific rigor and a focus on individual experiences as the basis for understanding the unconscious.
Jung, on the other hand, argues for a more expansive view, embracing the symbolic and universal dimensions of the psyche. And this difference in approach will become even more evident as we explore their interpretations of dreams. Freud's work, The Interpretation of Dreams, provided a really foundational framework for understanding dreams, as disguised fulfillments of repressed wishes.
His concept of dream work explained how the unconscious mind transforms latent content, the raw, often unacceptable impulses and desires,
Into manifest content, the actual narrative of the dream.
as we experience it.
He believed that by analyzing the symbols within a dream, often interpreting them through the lens of sexuality,
You could uncover the hidden tensions and neuroses driving an individual's behavior.
he saw dream analysis as a key tool for accessing the unconscious and unlocking its secrets. Jung, while acknowledging the significance of Freud's work on dreams,
Took a different path.
he argued that dreams were not always about repressed desires or past conflicts.
Instead, he proposed that dreams could offer glimpses into future possibilities.
Serving as guides towards wholeness and self-realization.
Jung's approach to dream interpretation emphasized the symbolic and archetypal nature of dream imagery.
He believed that dreams often drew upon universal symbols and themes, reflecting the collective unconscious and its influence on the individual psyche.
I think this difference in their perspectives on dream interpretation is beautifully illustrated in the next dialogue we'll be enacting.
As before, you will assume the role of Freud.
Carl dreams are coded messages from the unconscious cloaking taboo wishes and unacceptable desires in symbolic form. They protect our sleep by disguising thoughts and feelings that would otherwise disturb us. The analyst's task is to decode these symbols, to trace them back to the individual's personal history and repressed experiences.
Sigmund, I believe dreams can be more than just disguised expressions of repressed desires. They can also reveal pathways to future growth, to a more integrated and complete sense of self. They draw upon symbols and themes that are older than any single individual, reaching back into the collective unconscious and connecting us to the shared heritage of humanity.
Your interpretations venture into the realm of metaphysics, Carl. Psychoanalysis must remain grounded in empirical observation, in the analysis of individual experiences and measurable phenomena. To stray too far from this path risks undermining the scientific credibility of our work.
But the human psyche is vast and complex, Sigmund. It encompasses both the personal and the universal, the individual and the collective. To ignore the symbolic and archetypal dimensions of experience is to limit our understanding of the human mind's full potential.
This exchange really highlights the fundamental tension.
between Freud and Jung's approaches to dream interpretation.
And more broadly, their understanding of the human psyche
Freud, grounded in his scientific training and clinical observations,
seeks to anchor his interpretations in the individual's personal history and the observable dynamics of the unconscious mind. Jung, on the other hand, embraces a more expansive view, incorporating the symbolic, the mythical, and the universal into his understanding of dreams and the human psyche. This tension reached a breaking point in 1913, leading to the formal separation of their paths.
and the eventual development of two distinct schools of thought within the field of depth psychology.
Freud had high expectations of loyalty from his followers,
Particularly Jung.
whom he saw as his heir apparent. However, Jung's increasingly independent thinking and his explorations of concepts outside the traditional Freudian framework created growing friction within the psychoanalytic movement.
Jung's tenure as president of the International Psychoanalytical Association from 1910 to 1914 was marked by growing unease among Freud's supporters.
As Jung introduced his ideas about the collective unconscious and the symbolic nature of dreams,
Many viewed these concepts as too speculative.
and a departure from the scientific rigor Freud had so carefully cultivated, the final rupture was a culmination of mounting tensions.
Expressed in increasingly strained correspondence and open disagreements at conferences,
Freud accused Jung of abandoning the scientific principles of psychoanalysis.
in favor of mysticism and speculation.
Jung, in turn, viewed Freud as being dogmatic, resistant to new ideas, and overly focused on sexuality as the primary driver of human behavior. This break had a profound impact on both men personally and professionally. Accounts suggest that Jung experienced a period of intense inner turmoil,
Following his separation from Freud.
grappling with the implications of his departure from the established psychoanalytic orthodoxy. For the psychoanalytic movement, the loss of Jung, a brilliant and influential figure, was a significant blow. His departure marked a turning point, highlighting the emerging challenges to Freud's authority.
And the growing diversity of thought within the field. To capture the weight of this moment, I think we should enact their final exchange.
As depicted in our source material, once again, you will embody Freud.
You have forsaken the empirical bedrock of psychoanalysis, Carl, venturing into realms of speculation and mysticism that I cannot condone. Our paths have diverged, and I can no longer support your direction.
And you, Sigmund, bind the human mind in chains, limiting its potential by reducing it to a collection of repressed desires and unresolved conflicts. The psyche yearns for more, for a connection to something larger than itself, for a sense of meaning and purpose that transcends the individual.
Then our paths must diverge. Your vision leads beyond the boundaries of scientific inquiry, beyond the limits of what I can accept as legitimate exploration.
So be it, Sigmund. Though our paths may diverge our shared passion for understanding, the human mind will undoubtedly continue to shape the field of psychology for generations to come.
Their final exchange marked the end of their collaboration, but it also signaled the beginning of two distinct and influential schools of thought.
Within the field of depth psychology, Freud's psychoanalysis,
And Jung's analytical psychology.
each approach developed its own institutions, publications, and clinical practices, reflecting the diverging views of these two pioneering figures.
Despite their differences, both Freud and Jung left an indelible mark on the field of psychology, shaping the way we understand the human mind
The nature of the unconscious.
and the complexities of human experience.
I think it's important to note that the impact of Freud and Jung's work extends far beyond their individual contributions.
Absolutely. Their contrasting perspectives have truly enriched our understanding of the human mind and really shaped the development of various therapeutic approaches.
Freud's ideas, for instance,
Yes,
continue to influence how we view early childhood development,
the impact of the unconscious on our behavior.
and the importance of techniques like free association and therapy,
His work remains a cornerstone of psychoanalysis.
which, though it's evolving,
Of course.
still draws upon those core concepts.
And Jung's analytical psychology, with its focus on symbolism and the process of individuation.
And the search for meaning
Yes.
has also had a profound and lasting impact extending beyond the realm of traditional psychotherapy.
His ideas have influenced fields like archetypal psychology.
Exploring those universal patterns of human experience.
And we see it in literary criticism, where archetypal themes are often analyzed in great works of literature.
Even marketing and advertising draw upon Jungian concepts.
Yes, tapping into those universal archetypes to connect with consumers on a deeper, more symbolic level. It's really quite fascinating.
And I think the Freud-Jung debate, despite their eventual split, has ultimately enriched our understanding of the human psyche.
It reminds us that the study of the mind is an ongoing process, one that benefits from multiple perspectives and a willingness to challenge established paradigms.
Their contrasting views highlight, I think, a fundamental tension within the field of psychology, the tension between a focus on the individual's personal history and the exploration of universal archetypal patterns that transcend individual experience. And this tension continues to shape contemporary debates about the nature of the mind and the most effective approaches to understanding and addressing psychological challenges. So as we conclude our deep dive into this complex relationship between Freud and Jung and their enduring legacies,
It's crucial to acknowledge the limitations of any single theoretical framework in truly capturing the full complexity of the human mind.
their work, both individually and in their dynamic interplay, encourages us to approach the study of the human psyche with humility, curiosity, and open-mindedness.
Recognizing that the journey of understanding is as important as the destination.
And their contrasting views offer us valuable lenses through which to explore the depths of human experience, acknowledging the influence of both personal history and universal patterns in shaping who we are and how we interact with the world. Freud and Jung, through their groundbreaking work, their passionate debates, and their ultimate parting of ways, have left an indelible mark on our understanding of the human mind. Their ideas continue to provoke, inspire, and challenge us to delve deeper into the mysteries of the psyche. As we conclude our exploration today, I invite you to continue reflecting on their contrasting views and to consider how their insights might inform your own understanding of yourself and the world around you. Perhaps ask yourself which perspective resonates more strongly with you, Freud's focus on personal history or Jung's exploration of universal archetypes. And how can these contrasting frameworks help us navigate the complexities of human experience in the 21st century? These are questions worth pondering as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the human mind.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.